Hello, PlayToEarn community. I'm Jawad, the CMO at PlayToEarn, and I welcome you to the first edition of our series called Game Changers. What is Game Changers? It is where we interview Web3 founders and builders and learn more about their projects and their journeys. For our first edition, we have a very special guest. For those of you in the Web3 gaming community, this person needs no introduction. He is a pioneer in the metaverse industry and is leading one of the best virtual worlds out there where gamers can come, connect, build, and monetize their gaming experience. I'm talking about none other than Sebastien Borget, the COO and co-founder of Sandbox. Welcome, Sebastien, to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm great, Jawad. And hello, everyone in the PlayToEarn community. I'm very honored to be among the first on this series, and glad to be able to share that moment together and answer a lot of your questions.
Awesome. So without further ado, we'll just dive right in. So the first question that we have is, how is Sandbox doing? What is the current status of Sandbox? Can you share something about the numbers? Because we all know we have had a tough market in the past year, and it's currently going through a little bit of consolidation. So I believe everybody in the community is curious to know, how is Sandbox currently doing?
Right. So, well, I think, generally speaking, Sandbox continue its way of updating the different product, growing progressively. So we now count over 5.8 million users with the wallet. We continue to onboard major brands and partners to the metaverse, and many of them, their first steps into Web3, launching avatar collections, launching experiences. We update the tools of the platform as well with major product update. We recently introduced a big update of our no-code game maker tool. And we achieved two major milestones just this month again. The first one has been the introduction of the first phase of the Sandbox DAO, which is DAO standing for Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which is really one step further toward the progressive decentralization of the governance of the Sandbox, giving more autonomy to the players and creators who've been contributing to the growth of this world by owning sand, by owning land. I'm sure we'll talk more in detail about it. We also recently announced closing a $20 million fundraise with strategic investors, including Kingsway and LG Tech Venture, on a $1 billion valuation, which is also a big validation of what we've achieved to date in terms of growth, of revenue, of adoption. And even though Sandbox is still in alpha, since we last opened publishing to all the landowners, that was in November 2023, we have over 1,000 experiences live, playable at any time, made by creators. Creators have been the big focus of Sandbox for this year, and now we're proud to count over 330,000 unique creators over the last 12 months. Hundreds of thousands of monthly active users who are creating constantly with our game maker and participating in game jam, exploring the experiences that are available with our avatar, earning rewards. So overall, I think it's continuing what we do, doing it better, improving the product, and adding new partners, and preparing for the launch of the beta later this year, the launch of season 4, introducing the decentralization with the DAO, and really learning this new phase of involving the community in the decision making. And that's it, yeah.
Yeah, all bullish news so far. And it seems like there are a lot of updates, and we'll dive into each one of them gradually. So first thing you mentioned is partners, right? And are there any upcoming partners that you're excited about? And in general, how does Sandbox approach partnerships? Because that's something that will be very interesting for our audience to learn about.
Absolutely. Well, there are many new partners entering Sandbox on a regular basis. Actually, it's still a bit early, but stay tuned. Next week, major global Japanese IP is going to enter Sandbox, and you will see it's really been part of like the DNA of Sandbox to bring those brands that come like from entertainment, from music, from sport, from fashion, from various celebrities, a gaming brand as well, and to enable them to launch avatar collection, to launch unique experience, and even to launch like game jam as like an opportunity for them, for the fans to co-create experiences with them. And how we achieve that is, first of all, because the team has this experience since the beginning, since my co-founder and myself, Arthur Madrid, have been in gaming. We always work directly with top tier licenses and brands, and we've shown that we are able to really bring the characters, the stories to life, and in a very respectful way of the lore and the IP set by those brands. We empower their fans to make their own stories, adventure, and games in a very accessible way. And so we bring that creative community, we bring that engaged community, and we allow them to expand their presence and enter Web3 with a concrete use case and utility behind. The second thing is we also have like this global presence. Mm-hmm. So if you look at Sandbox and our 5.8 million users, we have roughly 30% of our audience now based in Asia, with Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam leading the chart. But we also have presence in Turkey. We recently opened in Vietnam a team and have a few partners there. 30% of audience in Europe, 20% in the US, and then rest of the world. Meaning through that global presence, we're able to have like more local brand, local cultural collaboration, and bring content and IPs that resonate more with those local audience, and make Sandbox a very diverse and inclusive platform that feature content from all around the world, from K-pop culture to like Turkish movie stars and TV series celebrity, to like content from more Western culture as well. It's really an interesting IP mashup, and I think only Sandbox to date offers such a great mix of like all those different regions of the world that all come together and you can play and interact with.
And I agree. I joined Sandbox mainly because of the Snoop Dogg Snoop Dogg IP, and it was very exciting to have him in the metaverse and experience that the culture around him within the Sandbox. Mm-hmm. So, you mentioned... Sorry, you were saying something?
No, it's really interesting, like exactly, like which IP, which celebrity drove you first in Sandbox? And like for you, it's Snoop Dogg, and we have 20 avatar collection like this that we launched. Elvis Presley, Paris Hilton, Snoop Dogg, Steve Aoki, the Rabbits, Agoria as a DJ. You have like the footballer Maradona, Shin Tae-young, yep. Attorney Woo, which is like a Korean K-drama. It's all very diverse genre that brings different audience as well.
Yep, I'm pretty sure a lot of the gamers join just because of the same reasons that I have certain affiliations and certain likeness towards a particular IP mm-hmm. or brand. I believe other gamers have the same experiences as well. So to the next question, you mentioned that Sandbox has recently raised a lot of funding. So the question is, can you share a little bit more about where this funding is going to be utilized, or what are the expansion plans around Sandbox, around this funding? Can you please give us some details?
Absolutely. Well, I think the first thing to look at is like really how this new fundraise is not really about like the amount of money that has been raised, but more about like the strategic partners that it adds. Kingsway and LG Tech Venture, that are like strong investors, which bring what we say like strategic value. Specifically, LG as a large group can also like allow us to reach audience in Korea and have like the distribution network available at some point that we can collaborate with. And also the validation of the valuation of the company. The last, like making Sandbox officially $1 billion worth company, a unicorn. The last fundraise we did was actually in November 2021. We raised $93 million with SoftBank as the lead investor on a $500 million valuation. And that valuation was actually based on like the metrics, the KPI, the revenue that Sandbox was generating more toward Q1 2021. So 2 years and a half later, Sandbox has 1,000 experience, hundreds of thousands of creators, more collaboration and brands partnership, more revenue and cash in the bank. All of that needs to be reflected, and that's what this new fundraise provide. We wanted to make sure that we have enough cash to operate the company, to build our vision, to empower anyone to become a creator for the next 5 to 10 years. So what's important here to consider is like we have such a unique opportunity to create this new decentralized virtual world, to create a gaming platform that's owned by the community, where the creators who participate in building that world together with us are like the one that benefit from the most from the value they bring. We want to make sure that we don't run short on cash to operate it. And ultimately, even now with the DAO, it's a platform that can exist forever in perpetuity all by itself. That's really the goal. We have sufficient cash to keep developing and updating the product for many years. We also think like it's important to improve the user experience. And sometimes it's not about always the new features we're constantly adding, but more like how do we improve the existing user experience? How do we improve the existing feature so like creators save more time to do the repeated action? How do we improve the performance so that when you move from one experience to another, instead of taking 2 minutes a year ago, 30 seconds today is going to take 10 seconds in a few weeks, and so on and so on. So every time, like, it facilitates the idea that we have an avatar, we use it to socialize with others, to interact, to explore faster across all those different experiences made by the creators themselves. And we give the possibilities to those creators to invent new gameplay, to to bring to life to their imagination without limits, concretely, and constantly feed that imagination with new possibilities that the game maker enables.
Got it. And this is all exciting stuff. And that actually is a perfect segue into my next question. So we have all heard about the creator economy and the UGC narrative. So what specific things is Sandbox working on to push that narrative and make it easier for more user-generated content to come about?
Mm-hmm. Well, several things. Like since we started Sandbox, our approach has always been like how to onboard and empower anyone to become a creator. So we have to lower the barrier to entry. We have to democratize access to content creation. So we chose voxels first as like the aesthetic, the visual representation of the content Sandbox. Why is that? It's because it's so simple. It's like the digital Lego. You just put blocks on top of each other. You can paint them even if you don't know how to assemble the blocks. And you can have a great versatility, like from simple block shapes to like very advanced one, just like Legos, from the Duplo for the younger kids to like the most advanced craft. You have all enable a lot of like diversity, a widespread gap of like the content. We have this no-code game maker that we keep updating every quarter with new version, adding like new rules of gameplay, more multiplayer modes. Now you can do platformer, parkour, jumping game, treasure hunt, runner game, shooter game with projectile, and so on. So different games that you can learn to do in a matter of hours or days without needing to know any programming language. We have various programs to support those creators through like online trainings, tutorials, bootcamps, today beginners bootcamp or advanced bootcamp, game jams that drive them to give them some purpose. Like, hey, this year we'll have 30 game jam supported by major brands. Create a game for your favorite brands like Care Bears, Walking Dead, Steve Aoki, and you have a chance not only to win prize like sand and land and be featured on their lands, but like also gaining those skills as a creator and then being onboarded to the creator economy. We reward the creator with the builder challenge. So earlier this year, we introduced the first builder challenge that's been running for 10 weeks and rewarded 1.5 million sand to the creator who published an experience on their land and drove more traffic to the platform and through their experience. The top 10 creator earned that amount. The first creator earned 400,000 sand, or roughly $150,000, which is a very substantial amount of money actually for a small team. And we're starting to see the first creator earn between 4 to 5 figure in sand, which for an individual is game changing. And like progressively, we hope that amount will grow so it can attract more and more like professional developers and larger teams. But why it's still very important right now? Because Sandbox is a platform that brings new creators, first-time creators, people who are not yet in the gaming industry, who do not use Unity or Unreal or other engines, and always wanted to do games. They come with different cultural background. They come with different skill set and vision of the world and set of values. And they come from countries that have traditionally been left off by like the mobile free-to-play or the Web2 revolution because of our presence on the ground in Turkey, in Vietnam, in Thailand, in Singapore, in Indonesia, in Philippines, in Malaysia. Those are typically in India. There are typically countries where like users are considered as not valuable by the video gaming industry because they are not making enough purchase, and like the revenue coming from those countries has been very low. With a platform like Sandbox, with a creator economy and web, those users are now on par with the users coming from the tier 1 countries. There is no notion of tier 1, tier 2. Any user who contribute earn the same value. And now, even better, has the same power to vote and express their voice for the future of the platform through the DAO, no matter which countries they are coming from. So those are some of the things we are doing to bring the creator and push the creator economy to a new potential. And I hope that little by little, being focused, constantly iterating the product, the proximity with the community, the support to them via those programs, we'll see top talent creators emerge on the platform who will be able to monetize and earn substantial revenue. There's already thousands of creators making a living on a platform like Sandbox, and I hope we'll be able to keep growing that numbers further over the years. And with the DAO coming, like we enable them even to have a say and a major involvement in the future of how that platform will evolve.
Awesome. So I've a interesting question here. So I want to draw parallels with Roblox and kind of pick your brain on why do you think Roblox is succeeding, and what has Sandbox learned from their success as well over the years?
Well, that's a very few things. That's first, like Roblox, they are over, I think they are like 14 or 15 years old. When I was starting the previous mobile game company in 2011, Roblox was at the very beginning. And so we also saw how Roblox evolved progressively. People think and see Roblox as it is now, which is great, much better looking, a lot of content, and so on. But it is basic graphics, not a huge audience, and so on. So the first thing we know is like we have to be patient and keep improving, delivering, and focus on the creator. Progressively opening new platform as well. I think Roblox gained a lot of traction as it launched on mobile. Before it was only on PC. So when Sandbox will come on mobile, hopefully next year on our roadmap, that will drive probably more adoption than what we are seeing right now. But already right now we can make an impact because we also saw the limits of Roblox. And it's quite interesting to have this a little bit like view, bird's eye view, where like we are following like how creators interact. And we also see that even though creators are able to monetize on Roblox, only the top percentile is able to earn most of the revenue of the platform. That the rest, there is no middle class. So there is a wide gap between the creators who earn the most and then all the other creators who earn very little revenue and still represent a larger portion of the developers there on the platform. there is a higher barrier to entry. So like very few new developers are able to succeed on the platform. There is the problem of like the centralized exchange rate that the platform apply. In a sense, like a user purchasing one Roblox, the developer receive 1/3 of the value of the 30% of 1/3 of the value of the Roblox that's actually been purchased. So the centralized exchange managing here like the exchange rates between the two sides in a very unfair way. And also like some creators are starting to realize that, well, if they could lose everything in an instant if Roblox decide like to actually ban their account, or like for any reason the user reported some content was inappropriate, and like all their content they created, their creation and their earnings could be taken away. And that's why we chose to build Sandbox right from the beginning with blockchain technology and NFTs. We wanted the players and the creators to truly own their content, to have the freedom to use it on Sandbox and eventually outside, to have the freedom to sell it even outside Sandbox. We do not sell the currency ourselves. So Sand is the USDT token of the platform. That was the first thing that we launch in a decentralized way, like the economy. We decentralize the economy of the platform. Today, Sand is one of the top 10 gaming token according to CoinMarketCap, and the top 100 cryptocurrency listed globally: Japan, Korea, US, Europe. And people are able to buy and sell Sand at the market price, where we are not intervening. Like we don't have any power at all into that. And that leads to the players and the creators have the ability to convert their earning anywhere they want at any point of time without any restriction. On the contrary, we're focused on working on how do we bring value for the landowners, how do we improve the product so the creators who publish on their land have new ways to monetize. And that's why we launched the NFT sensor, a way for the creators to monetize their content, gating access, and introducing other mechanics that pertains to like Web3 and community building.
Thank you.
We also see from Roblox that the importance of social interaction. I think like a lot of users come to Roblox, not necessarily to play, but just to hang around and talk and chat. It really became the social network of the 13, less than 13 initially, but now they are 13 plus as they grow up, which felt a gap that Facebook didn't provide during COVID and so on. And I think like it's important to understand the audience and what people are doing or not on the platform. And maybe to close up, like we're seeing Roblox turn into a marketing platform for brands.
Yep.
They see they have millions of audience. We're usually still those younger kids who are playing simple mini arcade game, whereas Sandbox have been doing it for quite some time with a more adult audience and with more value per user, since like those can buy the NFT and like have run various activation, loyalty, and engagement through that. So, yep, that's overall how we compare ourselves to Roblox.
Thank you for that insight. I believe many of the builders that are listening to this will find that valuable. So, and you also mentioned the Sandbox DAO, and this is like the next big thing for Sandbox. So, can you share a little bit more about how you guys are moving forward with building that DAO and what the community can expect from it?
Sandbox DAO, effectively. It's really a separate entity with a separate legal structure, management, a council in charge of the DAO, a budget of 25 million Sand per year allocated to it. And how it works basically is like there are proposals called SIP, Sandbox Improvement Proposal, that are being submitted, and where the community of Sand and landowner can, Sand or landowner can actually engage and vote upon those decisions. If you own one land, you have 4,500 voting powers. If you own one Sand, you have one voting power. So it's very unique already because there's this dual token voting power system. which is really reflecting the DNA of what is Sandbox. Sandbox is a virtual world that we are building together. The people who own a land, a piece of digital real estate on the platform, are the ones who are constructing, who are building that world, and as valuable as the one who own the token, which is more of the currency and the UC token of the platform. And we have 27,000 unique landowners who, on average, own 1 or 2 lands, versus we have 250,000 unique sand holders outside of the exchanges who own 10,000 sand, which give like a fair balance, and hopefully will ensure that as well in the design of the voting mechanics, that no one, whether they like not like the top holder of the sand or the lands, even if they come up together, can influence the vote and affect that democratic power. We have already had 5 SIPs approved
already.
The 3 first one were exactly like about the establishment of the foundation itself, the vote on the constitution, the vote on the budget. It's been approved by majority, and we're proud to have already more than 1,000 people who voted on each one of them, so largely exceeding the quorum. And 2 additional ones that were voted positive as well. One to support play to give experience with the Red Cross, which is a charity, and in order to acquire carbon credits on chain to compensate like the carbon emission and our impact on the environment, showing that we have a really great community who cares, doing good and doing impact. We have one more SIP currently in vote, which is like a tool called Magic Palette, submitted by a creator called SandRush, which has been active in Sandbox community since 2020. They developed on their own a separate tool that's very easy to use and allow creator to build land much faster. And after giving it access in beta to creators, they wanted to have the support of the DAO to keep developing and expanding it. And it looks like the committee is going to vote in favor. I really encourage the committee to vote even more, because this is something new. Like, never ever virtual world gaming platform have allowed their community to vote and have a say in what the platform should do. And I think like it doesn't come naturally. Now like you have to show the people that yes, actually they can have this impact, they can vote, they can make suggestions, they can rely the community, they can delegate their vote soon in the future. To decide how that platform should evolve, and hopefully we'll see even more participation and engagement from the sand holders or the landowners.
And this is all very good news. I think this is very exciting for Sandbox and the community at large as well. So, speaking of community, you also earlier mentioned that you guys are expanding to Southeast Asia and building local experiences within each one of these regions. And you guys have done it at a phenomenal speed, especially, as companies as large as Roblox sometimes lag in these terms. So I want to learn more about how you guys are building these teams up locally, and how are you quickly deploying them to build these experiences? What's the Sandbox secret here?
All right. Well, I think it's there's 2 things to consider. One, indeed, like a traditional model for US or Western centralized companies, like, okay, we're going to grow until we maximize the potential of a given market, typically the US. And once we're big enough or too big for there, like we start our international expansion and deploy large team in the ground in certain headquarters and start developing those markets. Sandbox, we centralized approach in each as part of our DNA, and we didn't wait to be the biggest in the US to look anywhere else. And that's been one of our success factors. For example, Asia has been driving 30% of our growth in the last 12 months, because Web3 gaming culture has been resonating much more there actually than in the West typically. We're also very unique because we don't arrive in a country with a big team and then we wonder, okay, now what do we do? And like, how do we approach the market? Like, we took a very startup approach, a very entrepreneurial approach, where actually those are very small, agile team, typically 1 person to 2, 3, and then if the market potential comes and more partners are being onboarded, we start to grow to 5, 10, and I think the largest team probably is around 15 in Korea. Those teams, they are in charge of like growing the sandbox ecosystem locally by bringing brands and IPs from the region, raising a neighborhood on the map, and creating a land sale where people can become the virtual neighbor of their favorite brand in a region. Also, growing the number of creators, so attracting like either individuals, artists, web designer, game designer, or studios, local gaming companies, and marketing agency who learn about the tool, become first trusted partners there, and start building content for the brands and of that region or for themselves. And also attract players, because some markets probably, when we look at a new market, we always look at 4 key characteristics: existence of brands and IPs in the region, the existence of like creators and game developers in the region, whether there's a lot of players who potentially have a PC or Mac and can enter Sandbox, and whether there is already an existing crypto adoption and market with local exchanges, Web3 brands and services. And so that's essentially the role of those country managers to prioritize the growth of Sandbox in any of those 4 areas. And as we onboard those partners, like we just did in Vietnam, after 4 months of work, we announced at GM Vietnam our first booster of 15 partners on the ground and local studios. We start to grow the teams to then support them across all the activation that they can have on the Sandbox platform, from launching avatar collection, game jams, events, play-to-earn rewards, and much more.
So, again, with this expansion, user acquisition and retention can become a challenge. Have you seen or employed any interesting user acquisition or retention strategies at Sandbox?
I think it's definitely a challenge. You know that like we're all into an economy of attention. So how do you drive the attention of users to specifically? And you have to be culturally relevant. You have to offer something quite unique and interesting for the audiences. So of course, we run the traditional set of user acquisition campaigns, and we localize the content based on the different culture and region. But more interestingly, the fact that we work with local brands, local celebrities to onboard their fans is already one strategy. And like, we're not onboarding millions of fans at once. I think like anyone's saying like we'll bring mass adoption, we'll onboard millions of users with our product. It's not like how it's happening. It's very little by little. Like one brand will bring a few thousand, or fully a few 100,000 new users if like they are really doing a good job at onboarding them to Web3. But then as you accumulate many of those brands, you have like audiences, fans, communities that are not necessarily overlapping, not always the same Web3 crowd. You bring new users who discover what's possible for the first time, and some of them will stay, retain, and keep exploring the metaverse with their avatar, eventually even some of them will turn into creators. So that's been one thing. The second is like we also work with like localization, culturalization is important. Having also like local ambassadors, local very passionate community member. I think like there's really a passion for Sandbox and what is our mission to bring new creators, new opportunities there, to bridge through like the missed opportunity of Web2 for local entrepreneur, artist, creator in the region to get a new chance on our user content platform. That resonates a lot and help us as well to grow in those regions.
Thank you for that insight. That's a wonderful insight for everybody to learn. So as we're coming close to the end of the interview, I want to ask a lightheaded question. Have there been any big memorable moments in your journey while building Sandbox? And can you share a little bit more about it?
Bad memory or
big
like...
memories, like big memorable memories.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Where you were like, whoa, like we finally made it, or you never thought that this was possible in the Sandbox.
Right. I don't think like we still don't think we've made it, by the way. Just to say, like, it's very important to stay humble. Like, we've reached a certain step where, like, I think Sandbox has achieved a certain recognition within the Web3 space. I remember back in 2018, we were almost non-existent in the landscape of decentralized virtual world. Everyone was talking about crypto voxels, Decentraland, and I was kind of like, wow, but come on, like, we're also there. Why is nobody ever mentioning Sandbox? So what do we do for people to pay attention? So we onboarded creators. We made ourselves visible by being more present in the community, speaking on IMAs, interviews, panels, conference, and little by little, we build that reputation by delivering great experience, great content, and like shipping product. I think the big moment maybe was the Series B when we announced in November 2021 already that 93 million fundraise on $500 million valuation. That really came at the moment where a lot of brands were onboarded into the metaverse. I was a little bit what we say. I wouldn't say I would the bull market or like a moment where everyone was entering the metaverse, not necessarily for the right reason, but they had like a strong interest to enter it. And like we were proud to be there at that moment. Sometimes I say, well, maybe it was too early, and I wish like our product, our platform was already more mature, and the overall user experience was better. Because 2 years later, if you play, or 3 years later, you play Sandbox now, it's night and day. Like everything looks so much better, looks faster. The content is so much more fun. We have much more IPs and content to go and check. But like you have to be patient. You have to look at every single step of the journey is an important milestone to achieve toward like hopefully one day you reach what can be considered a peak. And now we see, right, those platforms, I was saying Roblox started 14 years ago. Today they are here and they have the 100 million active users on a daily basis. It means it's feasible. Like if you have found the right product and user experience, the right content, you can achieve such growth at such scale in a sustainable way with retention. We don't want to inflate it just with airdrop and token farming and play to earn. Like we really want people to come and enjoy for the content, for the experience, for the discovery, creating new habits, and defining the future of what metaverse can be as one of like the concrete examples, thinking with the brand how we invent new form of entertainment, how we experiment together. So yeah, I guess like the big moment was also meeting certain celebrities IRL. Like you say, you came because of Snoop Dogg launching this avatar collection. I actually only met Snoop Dogg first in person 2 years later. But I think the opportunity to work with people again who define like key part of our culture, like hip hop, music, in fashion with brands like Gucci or Lacoste or Charles & Keith. In gaming now, like Rabbits are here this week. They are launching a new avatar collection, rock and roll. Quite exciting, and that's maybe like every day is a proud moment based on that. I guess also like seeing what the creators are doing with our tools and hearing their stories of how we drove an impact is a proud moment. And also seeing Sandbox being used as a way to raise awareness, to educate, to give to charities and make an impact in the physical world, thanks to the involvement of our community, is also something that makes us very proud. And we feel like as it's a bit different, and we're not just a gaming platform. We're something much bigger thanks to our community and thanks to touching culture.
Awesome. It's really a privilege to see a project like where I've joined in early on and see it grow to what it is today. Do you have any final thoughts or messages for the Sandbox community or the PlayToEarn community that you would like to share?
Yes, absolutely. So, well, I think like be curious, go on, create an avatar. It's all free. You don't need to make any purchase. Start exploring, see what's already been made by other creators, be inspired. And I hope like you will also be inspired yourself. you will gain new skills, and hopefully we'll see you in the metaverse. We'll see you become a creator. We'll see you create content and earn a revenue. Right now, we have many incentive available for that rewards creativity. So valuable skills, not just like come and tap on the screen to farm token every day. I don't think it really brings great positive values. But learning how to make a video game, how to think out of the box, how to design content and like involve and build up a community around the content, like that's very valuable skill that can also serve you in the real world. That's and so we hope that Sandbox can be a platform that can empower your creativity.
Thank you for that message, Sebastien. I think that's all the time we have for today. I really want to thank you for taking the time out to speak to our community. I believe we have all learned a whole lot from your insights and your experience. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jawad, and well, see you soon in the metaverse.
I'll see you there. Cheers.